Today, I went for a first run in the Triumph 18. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brendon, and today we're talking about the Triumph 18, but we talk all things running on this channel, from shoe reviews to run training to marathon training and everything in between we talk about here on the channel. So if that's something you're into, consider hitting that subscribe button right down there, and while you're there, maybe hit the like button. Helps out the channel a ton. Let's talk about this thing right here, the mutant colorway of the Triumph 18. We took this out for a 5-kilometer loop like we always do on our first impression runs, because I take it out for 5K because if I don't like it, I can return it and get it a bigger size, or just return it because I didn't like the shoe. I literally just got in from my run, so I'm probably still full of sweat. My eyes are red because I got salt in them because I'm a salty sweater, but without further ado, let's talk about the specs of this thing right here. It comes in at, like, I'm gonna guess 345 grams because it's a little bit heavier than the Triumph 17, and my Triumph 17 came in around 338 grams. I need to get this on the scale, so I'll put the weight right here when I get home. It has a 8mm drop with 32.5 millimeters of stack height in the heel, followed by 24.5 in the forefoot. It's a little bit more than the Triumph 17, but I'm gonna do a whole video comparing the Triumph 18 to the Triumph 17 to let you guys know the differences, so you can make the decision. Do you wanna save a little bit of money and go the last year's iteration, or go for the Triumph 18? That video is coming up on the channel for you this week, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Now, those are the specs that I wanna run down. Let's move on to the upper. So this upper right here is an engineered mesh, and oh my goodness, it's an amazing, amazing upper. The upper on the Triumph line is so comfortable. Actually, let's just be honest. The uppers in the Saucony lineup this year have been top notch. We all know the Ride 13 upper's great. The Saucony Endorphin lineup uppers are great. They've been fantastic. Now, this is quite plush though, I will let you know that. And it does have quite a bit of a reinforced heel. So let's start back at the heel here and make our way to the toe box. So yes, the heel collar is reinforced. So if you don't like a very, very reinforced heel cup, well, this shoe definitely won't be for you, because it's hard. It's very hard. So moving on to the ankle collar, it's nice and plush. I love how plush it is, but I will say, if you're wearing socks that are a little bit sleek, you're probably going to be slipping around because it's very soft in there. So that's something to be aware of. The tongue is very plush as well. Like, there's nothing that's not plush about this upper, but the ankle collar and the tongue are the most plush parts of the upper by far. I'm moving on to the rest of the upper here. It's an engineered mesh with some 3D printed overlays for some extra support, they say. Does that really add to it? I can't say for sure, but hey, I'm not gonna argue with them. The upper feels amazing on foot. It slips in like a glove, and it feels amazing as I'm out there running. One thing I will note is the laces on the upper are very thick. So there's these like stretchy, very thick, plush laces. Like I said, there's nothing not plush about this upper. The laces, come on. I might have to switch those out. I found them on the Ride 13 and the Triumph 17 as well to be kind of a hassle, but what can you do? For the upper, I really, really enjoyed it. It feels great, but I will say there is some cosmetic issues here that we're gonna discuss in the dislikes, but aside from that, the upper feels amazing. I love it. I'm gonna give it a, let's go 2.5 out of 3 for the score on the first impressions. So moving on to this midsole, they're using that same PWRRUN Plus midsole foam that we all have known and grown to love. They have it in the Freedom 3 line and the Triumph 17, and the PWRRUN Plus midsole, I almost actually kissed it, and that would have been a little bit disgusting considering I was just out there running on it. But with that aside, the PWRRUN Plus midsole felt amazing out there on my run, and where I did feel like it was a bit more of a slog, having it for those paces that I was going very, very easy felt absolutely fantastic. But when I started to pick it up, it was there for me as well. And that's one of the best things about the PWRRUN Plus midsole foam, in my opinion, is the versatility of it. Yes, it can caress you when you're feeling like you need to go slow, but it's also there when you want to pick up the pace. Now, I'm not going to say it's responsive, But what I do find with the PWRRUN Plus midsole is that it compresses, and then when you go for the next stride, it's very snappy to get back to that original uncompressed position. It's not like the Clifton 7 lineup where I find that once you compress it, it's not very instantaneous in decompressing on that next stride, so it's always a little bit compressed. And actually, you can see that when looking at the Clifton 7, there's little creases in it. That may just be a consequence of EVA foam, but the PWRRUN Plus midsole, I don't actually know what material it's made out of, but whatever it is, absolutely love it. And they changed the aesthetic this year, and I think, like just look at this shoe, guys. It's an absolute masterpiece. This is an amazing colorway, it just pops. I love it. All right, let's move on to the Outsole. So moving on to the Outsole, it is blown rubber and they have a lot of it. So I don't know if I can get it on camera here. I don't know if it's too overexposed or something, but it's almost like a little bit of lug depth here. So I'd say it's almost like 3 millimeters of lug depth. So if you wanted to take this out for trails, I think you definitely could. Like maybe just some brush trails or something light in the forest. I wouldn't take it on like mountainous terrain, but I think going through the woods and stuff, it would give you enough grip. This rubber is very, very grippy, and I don't think I'm gonna have any troubles on like rainy days or anything like that getting the proper grip. Another thing to note about this Outsole is they have this little cutout here. I don't really know the reason for the cutout. I knew it at one point in time. I would guess that it's to save down on weight, but who knows? If someone knows, leave a comment down below and let us all know, why do they have this little cutout in the Outsole? I don't know, who knows? I have no clue. Now, with the specs and the rundown of the shoe out of the way, let's move on to my likes and dislikes for the Triumph 18. First, starting with the likes, I have to say, of course, the midsole foam. The PWRRUN Plus midsole was there for me today when I was out there struggling in the heat. Direct sunlight was beating down on me, beating me down each and every step, and the PWRRUN Plus midsole was right there to pick me back up. When I wanted to quit, it wouldn't let me. It said, come on, just go a little bit light and I'll be right there to help you along. And it did, and it felt great. I love the PWRRUN Plus midsole so much. Thing is the updated upper. I really appreciate that they cut down on some of the material and plushness from the Triumph 17. I do think is that this upper is essentially just a Ride 13 upper on a PWRRUN Plus slab of foam, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it whatsoever. I actually kind of enjoy it a lot. There, of course, has to be some dislikes, and let's talk about them. This may just be cosmetic, or it could be a bigger issue over time, but I am seeing some like fraying around the toes, like the material's kind of pulling. It's pulling around the toe box here as well. And also, I forget what shoe it's on, but I'll put it on some B-roll here. But there's some like string sticking out of the upper as well. So I'm not sure if it's just purely cosmetic and it's not gonna cause an issue over time, but if it's not and it does start to wear down on the durability of the upper, that's gonna be pretty disappointing considering the Triumph 17 could last you for a long time. So I'm not sure what the durability of this upper is gonna be on the Triumph 18, but guys, other than that, I don't have many dislikes so far. Again, we've only done 3 miles or 3.1 miles or 5 kilometers. So we still have a lot of miles to put in this before we get our full thoughts on this shoe. But right off the bat, this shoe is just a perfect update to the Triumph line, and Saucony, you're just knocking it out of the park each and every time. This mutant colorways that you've been coming up with, my gosh, you guys are like the Picasso of shoe art. I freaking love it. And yes, let's coin the term shoe art right now, because that's what this is, a piece of art. It's gonna be it for a first impressions of the Triumph 18. I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. We have a lot of comparisons coming up this week. We had a request to do a Triumph versus Saucony Endorphin Speed impression, so we're gonna be doing that. And then we're gonna be comparing this guy to the Triumph 17. Should you save a little cash and get the Triumph 17, or go for the brand new beauty of the Triumph 18? Let's see. We're going to talk about that in a few days, but for now, we're leaving it at that. Have a fantastic day. I will see you on the next one. Do you want to review the Triumph 18? Is that what you're going to do?
Sure. The Triumph 18 is really good. It's a nice shoe. Yeah.